The crisis between the Vatican and African churches over the blessings of homosexual couples keeps increasing. Several African prelates have demonstrated clear hostility to this pastoral reform, where homosexuality is prohibited in 32 countries. The document would, no one doubts, cause a stir. It was finally a wave that arrived from the African continent to fall on Rome in the days following the publication on December 18, 2023, of a doctrinal declaration authorizing blessing. What is blessing? Blessing is an action consisting of invoking divine benevolence on one or several people. So, authorizing blessing on homosexual couples and couples in an irregular situation, in particular, divorced and remarried people. This text from the Dicastery for the Doctrine of Faith, an institution of Roman Curia responsible for monitoring Catholic dogma, entitled Fiducia Supplications, Supplying Trust, was written by Cardinal Victor Manuel Fernandez at the head of the organization, but signed and approved by the Pope. The lawyers of LGBTQ+, who had been waiting for this measure for a long time, rejoiced, particularly in Belgium and Germany, where the episcopate requests such progress. The representative of Catholic Church in Africa showed an almost generalized distrust. This was expressed on December 20 by a letter written by the Archbishop of Kinshasa in DRC, Democratic Republic of Congo, Cardinal Fridolin Ambongo, also president of Symposium of Episcopal Conference of Africa and Madagascar, which brings together all the high clergy of the continent. The ambiguity of this declaration of December 18, which lent itself to numerous interpretation and manipulation, harasses much perplexity among the faithful. Writes the prelate, he has the Episcopal Conference of the continent to give their opinion on the text, signed by Pope Francis. I would like to bring to you as well the reaction of the media in Africa towards the declaration of Pope Francis on the blessings, on the declaration of the Pope on the blessings on the homosexual or irregular couples. Hence, as a Catholic, do you also agree with the Pope? And if you are not a Catholic, do you also agree with what the Pope said? Does this doctrine present itself in the Bible? Do we really have it in the Bible at all, or in any book? If you have comment and opinion, being a Catholic person, being a Christian person, or being from another faith or another beliefs, kindly put your comment in the comment section and let us hear what you have to say. Do church really need to bless this set of people? Give your opinion.
Pope Francis formally permitted Roman Catholic priests to bless same-sex couples on Monday. So this news broke out yesterday, right? Or broke yesterday in a significant shift in the church's approach to LGBTQ plus people. Now, the blessings may be carried out providing they are not part of regular church rituals or liturgies, nor at the same time as a civil union, according to a Vatican document approved by the Pope. Meaning, say, you can just bless them, but know that you're blessing them as a couple or as a union. And then this has raised a lot of controversy because people are now saying, oh, whoa. So, in fact, there has been reactions. So, We know that an Islamic cleric has also reminded President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in reaction to this that same-sex marriage must be banned in Nigeria. This one that we're hearing that people are now, sanctioning, okaying it, and saying that churches should bless. Pope is now okaying it more like. But then there's been quite a number of other reactions concerning that. But the latest ruling flashes out the opening the Pope made to bless same-sex couples last October, and marks a shift away from a 2021 ruling from the Vatican Doctrine Office, which barred any blessings, saying God cannot bless sin. But was the communique, as it were, from the Pope, does it actually not just bless but join or approve the joining or the union of same-sex relationship? Well, okay, so let's go to some other reactions. As a Nigerian Catholic priest identified as Father Ugochukwu Ugwoke has defended Pope Francis after the Catholic Church head gave permission to bless in same-sex marriage. Now, yes, it was reported, following the report. Now, however, the Vatican said blessings should not be part of regular church rituals or related to civil unions or weddings, as we mentioned today. Now, while throwing his weight behind this development, Father Ugochukwu on his Twitter, you can call it X handle, wrote on the title, "Has Pope Francis changed the church or church's teaching about marriage?" This may interest you before we go into other issues concerning the country. So he did say quite a couple of things concerning that. He noted that though the topic on same-sex relationship is a sensitive one, laws in are divided, that laws in a divided or are divided in three, adding that the Pope, one, Pope Francis can change or has changed something. Now, Father Ugochukwu wrote that there has been a whole lot of confusion since the publication of Vatican document, and in which the Pope Francis said the priest can bless same-sex couple. The confusion is quite anticipated and understandable because the topic of same-sex union is a very sensitive one. And then he says, but there are things, all the laws and regulations in the church may be divided into three kinds. He said, one, the laws and regulations in the church, one, can states that those that the church has no power to change, or it could be those laws that has changed and never will change. Sorry, I repeat that. It says, so the laws, in church are probably divided into three. One is those laws that the church has no power to change. That is, the church no get strength inside. Or the laws that has never changed before, and then they would never change. They remain like that, world without end. Amen. And then the second laws will be those she has the authority to change. That is, those laws that the church has the authority to change, but most probably will never change or never will change, as you like, to refer to it. And then three, those that she can change, has changed, and may change again according to the circumstances of a given period of time. And then I'm sure you'll be wondering, what category right now does this particular law fall into? So speaking on the first type of law, he said that there are two types of law that the Catholic Church cannot change: neutral moral laws and positive divine laws. Right? Okay. And this sounds more like a lecture though. So the cleric said, under the first type of laws, there are two kinds of laws. The Catholic Church has no authority to change the tamper with in any way that she never has changed and never will change. And they are neutral moral laws and positive divine laws. Now, a good example of neutral moral laws, according to him, he said quite a lot. So bottom line, this is that, in his opinion, the Pope hasn't done anything, practically wrong, if you follow the laws and the doctrine of the church. But then many people have been arguing of the argument that if the church is saying that, okay, we are now blessing you, even though we're not the ones that joined you, but we bless your marriage, is it not as good as confirming the fact that two men can be married or two women can be married? Is that not going against what they initially said in 2021 that they cannot bless sin? Well, I guess it's as good as mine. But
A big change from the Vatican. Pope Francis formally gives the green light to bless same-sex couples. 2 News Oklahoma's Alexandra Blake joins us live in the studio to break down what this means for the community. Alexandra.
Karen, Pope Francis is now saying that priests may bless the couple. However, the Catholic Church is still reaffirming that marriage is between a man and a woman.
In a historic move, Pope Francis formally approved blessing same-sex couples on Monday, saying God's love and mercy is for all without judgment. This is quite the shift from a Vatican condemnation just 2 years ago, saying, quote, God cannot bless sin. Now, with this newly approved blessing, the Vatican points out it's not to be confused with marriage. That is still between a man and woman. It also may not be done at civil union ceremonies or with any rituals that belong at weddings. Caveats aside, Dorothy Ballard with Oklahomans for Equality says this is a great step forward.
First and foremost, joy. So I'm glad to see things progressing in the right direction. Not quite where we want to be yet, but I'm sure for many, 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 many millions of Catholics, this is wonderful news.
While this is wonderful news to some, our viewers left a mix of reactions on the 2 News Oklahoma Facebook page. One saying, just because the Pope says it doesn't make it right. Ballard has a message for those who don't accept what the Pope says.
I would say that I want them to really look into their heart and ask themselves what they're unhappy about specifically. Because if they're a person that's aligned with their faith, and what they'll know is that first and foremost, what they're called to do is to love, not to judge, to love.
With Pope Francis also saying the move is rooted in God's love, Ballard hopes the local diocese will follow suit.
I reached out to many local Catholic churches and they all directed me to the Diocese of Tulsa, which has not yet responded to my request for a comment. Live in studio tonight.
Vatican said on Monday in a landmark ruling approved by Pope Francis that Roman Catholic priests can administer blessings to same-sex couples as long as they are not part of regular church rituals or liturgies. A document from the Vatican's doctrinal office, which effectively reversed a declaration the same body had issued in 2021, said such blessings would not legitimize irregular situations, but be a sign that God welcomes all. In the meantime, in an extraordinary pushback against Pope Francis, some Catholic bishops in Africa, Poland, and elsewhere say they will not implement the new Vatican policy, allowing blessings for same-sex couples. Others downplayed the policy approved this week by the Pope as merely reaffirming the Vatican's long-standing teaching about marriage being only a union between a man and a woman. The reactions tend to show how polarizing the issue remains and how Pope Francis's decade-long effort to make the church a more welcoming place for the LGBTQ plus community continues to spark resistance among traditionalists and conservative Catholic leaders. I'm now being joined here by Reverend Father Raymond Anoliefo, who is Executive Director, Justice and Peace Center for the Catholic Archdiocese of Lagos. It's a pleasure to have you here on this day live. Father Anoliefo, thank you very much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, now, what exactly is the Pope saying? What is out there is that the Pope has approved priests to bless same-sex unions. Now, as the Catholic Church approved gay unions, is that the meaning?
To answer directly, the answer is no. The Catholic Church has not approved gay unions and has not sanctioned the blessing of same-sex unions. What the Church has simply done by that document, Fiducia Supplicans, is opening up the space for persons in irregular unions to come into the embrace of God, into the embrace of the church. And so the blessing is for the couple, the individuals, and not the union. But it's important that I state that this issue would not have polarized the Christian fold, especially the Catholic faith, if we had a clearer understanding of the background that had led to this. Some time ago, there were discussions around this same issue, especially in 2021, and some cardinals issued what is called the dubia, which is a series of questions on doctrines, on disciplines of the church, to which the church, the Holy Father, Pope Francis, gave very clear answers on the church's position on same-sex union. For starters, the church still holds emphatically that homosexual tendencies are intrinsically disordered orientations, and marriage is between man and woman for life and for love, for happiness, for peace, and it's indissoluble and is irrevocable. But sometime, because of what's happening around the world, there was a pushback with the legalization of same-sex unions in some parts of the West, with specific reference to 2017, where there was a legalization of this same union in Germany. And that led to certain uproars. The German church started to maybe lower down the bar by looking for liturgical rites and rituals that may be used to admit couples who are already civilly married by way of civil union, same-sex union. And so the Holy Father in 2021 reacted to it. And that's the response is out there for everyone to see. And this year, the Holy Father simply reinstated what exactly he had said a couple of years ago, that marriage is between man and woman and not between man and man. So completely the church in this document does not intend to, and I do not think the church will at any point in time sanction gay unions or order priests to bless gay unions.
Father, the official document in question here is the fiducial supplicans, right?
Yes.
But the question to ask is, if the Pope says you can bless, right, then what is a blessing? I think we need a little catechesis in this regard.
Okay, now, prior to this time, the church had held blessings strictly or firmly in the areas of liturgical celebrations. And now, blessings are impartation of God's favor, of God's protection, of God's mercy, of God's presence on items, on articles, on people or structures, institutes. So blessings can come in different ways. But this time, what had existed before now had been just discussions around liturgical blessings, which are formal blessings that have liturgical rites. We have what we call the Book of Blessings, and there are different blessings that can be done when you go through the rites, with the right vestments, the right rituals, the right programs and activities, the right words, the form and the matter must be present. For example, in marriage, there are liturgical rites for the celebration of marriage in the Catholic Church. Now, that is for that kind of blessing. But here the church is saying, the Pope, the Holy Father is saying, this new innovation or new development that has come in is now a bit of a distinction, that while we have liturgical blessings, we also have what we call the informal blessings or spontaneous blessings. For example, as a priest, somebody can approach me just in front of the church office or come to the office. Oh, Father, bless me, I'm traveling. Bless me, I'm writing exam. Bless me, and you give a spontaneous blessing. It doesn't require any rule or any ritual. So here the Holy Father is saying, when persons in irregular unions knowing that these irregular unions are already disordered in the sense that they are not in conformity with the mind of the church and by extension in the mind of God. So we could call them, I do not want to sound like a holier than thou person, but we could call them, plainly put, sinful dispositions or sinful behaviors. Now,
thank you for watching. If you're new to this channel, consider subscribing so you won't miss out any of our latest video.